Tech Nuggets, GNS3 overview. So, going to do a quick tech nugget here on configuring objects inside GNS3. So we're going to look at the properties of an object, and we're going to look specifically at virtual switches, which is something we deal with a lot. It's sort of a web that connects everything together. Virtual switches are a real basic part of GNS3. And we're going to take a little look at all the knobs and levers and sliders and things like that in them that we can play with. All right, on to a practical demo. So this tech nugget's been made a little later than our previous tech nuggets, and we've upgraded to the newer version of Ubuntu Desktop, which is 2004, and we've recreated our environment with no trouble. So you'll see here we've got GNS3, and it's already connected up and ready to go. We've got some new objects that we'll use in other labs that you may not have seen, but for this particular tech nugget, all we're doing is looking at the same objects. We're going to talk a little about the properties of an object and how to manage and manipulate them so that we can get them to do different things. So in this case, we're going to look at our VPCS object, and we're going to go right click and we're going to go to configure. And you can see we don't get a lot to edit here, right? We can change its name, we can change its console type, which is the box terminal window that opens. And I've checked the auto start console. This is not part of the template. It means that when I hit play, the console will automatically start, which is really great if you're working on something and want to get in at it and make it work quickly. And that's really nice. It pops up the console window. On the other hand, you might not want it on your basic object over here on the left side, because then all of the console windows will start. If you have 38 console windows that start when you hit play, it can slow the machine down even more. That can be a little troublesome when we go to do that kind of stuff. You'll notice that there are some objects, like the NAT object, that have no configuration. We can't do anything with it. The NAT object is just the way it is. It has one Ethernet card, and we mouse over it, we can see a little bit on it. It's got one Ethernet port, which we've connected to our switch, and it kind of serves its function and doesn't really do anything else. There's no configuration to be done to it. So we just live with it the way it is. Our last object is our switch object, and it's a little unique in the way it works. And I'm going to delete its links because with links on it, you can see it's kind of difficult to delete things sometimes. It does not like to be edited when there's connections made to it. It'll actually give you an error message that says, I can't do this because I'm connected to things, and it'll be unhappy. All right, so we're looking at node properties, and we changed name. It doesn't have a console. This is an unmanaged switch, which means there's no command line, there's no GUI. You can't get in to change it directly. And managed switches often allow us to do a bunch of other things. This is what we would consider an unmanaged switch. It's an 8-port switch, right? It starts at 0, goes to 7. We can add more ports and that's what these settings here are. We can add ports and we can change their types. Now we're going to come back in a later lab and talk about what this VLAN means, because we can tag the packets that go through the switch with VLAN tags, and we'll talk about what that means. For right now, we're just going to talk about how do I add more ports if I need it, because I only have an 8-port switch, which isn't a lot in good-sized networks. And I'm going to click on Add, and you're going to notice here it added an 8th port. So now I have a 9-port switch, and I can add a whole bunch of ports, right? And all of a sudden I get up here, and now I have effectively a 17-port switch, 0 through 16. If I hit OK, and we're going to go to the link, and when I click on it, I've got 0 through 16, which I didn't have before. So we're able to edit nodes in this fashion. And we can edit most any node will allow it to be edited so that we can change the console or change the options or things like that. And we'll do more advanced things in later labs that have to do with some of this configuration of the objects directly. And sometimes we have to start the object to configure it inside it. And it's configuration that happens in the node, not in GNS3. We'll talk a little about that in other tech nuggets too. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this tech nugget, and we'll see you for the next tech nugget.